There we go. Big cheesy grin for finding an owl. We've got it added to our list, but it's always lovely seeing those little owls because sometimes they're very difficult to find. What are the chances of that? It was great. Now, I think Chitty Chatty Meg was saying that her favorite owl is that big giant eagle owl with those beautiful pink eyelids. Well, Meg, hopefully this owl makes up for it now. We'll double check. Maybe we see that owl. I'll go have a look down there in the riverbed, in the dry riverbed or the drainage line. We'll see. We'll see. Now it sounds like that lioness James has got is possibly try and hunt. I hope she has some luck. Let's follow James and see how that lioness does.
Would like to get around the top, but I don't think we must. I think a baby wildebeest coming through here could easily be her target. I don't know if any of them have seen her. I don't know why they're all coming through here either. But something spooked them there, a few coming closer to her. She could have any of them. She's spoilt for choice. Let's just watch. The wind is blowing, which of course makes it much easier for her. I mean, they cannot be more than maybe 30 meters from her. I'm going to move quickly, Dave. Let's see if we can. Dave is on camera, everybody. She's in there somewhere. We're going to keep watching carefully. Okay, there she is. She could easily run from there. Look at her ears and you'll just be able to see them running past. It's like she doesn't know which one to go for. There's so many. All streaming through. This is a... Oh, here we go. It's a drainage line that they're all struggling to get through. There's some very steep banks streaming down. Come on, girl. Look how many there are. And I'm often in favour of the prey getting away, but today I'm not, because she looks like a relatively hungry lioness in comparison with most of the cats here. You happy with this picture, Dave? It's not the best. Shall I go back a bit?
It was better than back.
Better back.
No, I'm saying.
Okay, how about that? They've got no idea that she's there. Oh, and they're coming streaming through. She's not more than... Yeah, there she goes! She's struck. There she goes. Up onto a little one. She's got a small zebra. I'm going to go back a bit. No, small wildebeest. There it is. You got her, Dave? That is not a small one. That's an adult. She's on her own. The mass of the two animals is about the same, but she is much more limber, she's much more supple, she's much more powerful. And I don't think that wildebeest has a chance. Isn't this just astounding stuff? Completely live from the Masamara. I can't believe this. Well done, you clever lion. That wildebeest is probably 1 year and 7 months old, born last year, into its second migration, unfortunately, almost certainly its last. Oh, look at this. Fantastic stuff. You can send us any questions or comments that you have. I'll happily answer them. But that is just breathtaking action, and it was totally unexpected. She's been watching a herd of hundreds of thousands on the plains behind. Something spooked this group. They came from the other side of the drainage line, and she picked it up immediately, got behind that bush, and wham, she picked her target. And that wildebeest is very much alive, and I know that for some of you this will be very difficult. I find it quite difficult to watch, I must say. But for her, I'm very pleased, because she was looking a very skinny lioness. And the power, the speed, it's still alive. She must watch out. It could easily get up from there. Trying to see if it's breathing. The reason that the picture is moving slightly is that they're quite far away from us, probably about, I'd say 100 meters, 330 feet or so. Now, Sinak, you're wondering how strong her jaws are. It's difficult to answer. You see the wildebeest still alive, slowly starting to get air back into its lungs, and she's going to have to take hold of it soon. Sinak, a human being bites apparently with the power, I think it's about 80 pounds per square inch. A lioness probably around 200 or 300 pounds per square inch, I think. I can't remember exactly. And she's so easily recognizable. Look at her. You can see her right ear is torn. The top is torn off. And all around now you can hear the zebras alarming. Wah, 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 wah. They know there's a lion there. They've just watched this kill the same as you and I have. There we go. See, got up again. The brain gets starved of oxygen, and then the autonomic nervous system kicks in. It starts to suck in air. The brain starts to re-oxygenate, and then it tries to get up again. And now she'll suffocate it again, and I'm afraid it doesn't have a chance. So if this is difficult for you to watch, I'm very sorry about that. Whew. Oh, very exciting. Can you hear all the zebra around here? Their calls echoing through the trees here on this drainage line, in amongst the wind of an incoming storm. A beautiful afternoon storm that we'll get to enjoy, but unfortunately for that wildebeest, the storm is going to fade from its sight very soon. Now, people often ask us, do lions kill in the day when they see this stuff? The answer is, during the migration, lions often kill during the day. Opportunities like this abound. They set themselves up for a dusk hunt, which is the normal time for them to hunt, and then chance occurrences like this happen. And I think what you'll find here, you're seeing the wildebeest still kicking slightly. There may just be a little bit of air passing through the trachea there, slowly making its way into the lungs and then around in the blood to the brain. And so it's just not quite dead yet. Now she's looking around, because she's looking around for other lions. She can't hear because there's a huge amount of wind, so all she can hear is rustling. She'll be smelling probably hyena. There are lots of hyena around here. Hyena won't have picked up what's going on here yet, except that the alarm calling of all the zebra will definitely attract other lions. And I don't know that she's on her own in this pride. I think she's part of what we call the sausage tree pride, but others of them are quite a long way away from here. So she'll be looking around to see if this alarm calling is attracting other predators. Now, Rishi, you ask a very good question. You say, why would the wildebeest not help the injured one? This is something I have wanted to know myself many, many times, because we've watched cheetah take down wildebeest of this size. 5 cheetah brothers we've watched for the last 8 weeks or so, and although the wildebeest are so much bigger, they just don't make any effort, bar one instance, to help each other. And I don't really understand why it is that they don't, because if they all turned around and had a go at this lioness, it's almost certain that she would turn and run. I'm going to try and move and get us into a slightly better position, because I think she's going to drag it into the cover there. Dave, shall we move slightly? It's so exciting, this stuff. It really is just magic that we're able to do this live from the Mara. If we do lose signal, I'm sorry, but most of the high action is done. There are more coming through now. We might see a second kill. How's that, Dave? They don't know she's there. The zebra don't know that she's there. We could see a second kill. Now, a zebra, a bit more formidable than a wildebeest. More powerful, much bigger kick, much more explosive speed. Wildebeest do not have the same kind of formidable nature, and what she'll be doing now is looking for a youngster. She could easily take a youngster. The one that's just come through, slightly too big perhaps. Or then the wildebeest is starting to kick, and they've seen it. They've seen the wildebeest kicking, and that's given them a fright. I think some of them have seen her. The wildebeest stopped kicking now. Now you see, they're not talkers, these creatures. They don't know how to tell each other, other than for the odd alarm call, that there's a lion there, which means 2 or 3 will go around the other side, the rest will continue to take the path of least resistance and come down straight past her. Gosh, this is just astounding stuff. There are not wildebeest, zebra shouting at each other all around here. It sounds like a convention of deranged hounds at the moment, mixed in with some donkeys. And the echoing through the trees is just quite something. Alright, let's just wait and see here. I'm not sure if she'll hunt again. I'm pretty sure she will if the rest of the animals come through, but I can't see at the moment if they're coming through. Now, Ayanda, you say you hope the alarm calls don't attract hyenas. Ayanda, they could. But I think there's so much alarm calling that you might find that a predator will think, well, we don't know what's going on there. She's just going to continue now with killing this poor thing. It's in the death throes now. I don't think it's feeling anything at this stage. That's difficult to watch. Shayna, you're wondering if she's a lone female or if she has a pride. Shayna, I think she's part of what we call the sausage tree pride. I don't think she's alone, but she is today, and she has been since this morning. We watched her this morning. Some very interesting sightings of her this morning, and this morning I said she looked very thin, and she looked like the hungriest lioness in the Mara, and I thought she would kill something. I hoped she wouldn't do it during the day when we went back to camp, and certainly she has not disappointed. Now what we're going to do is sit right here, because it is entirely possible that reason is that these lions don't kill to eat always. Their instinct to kill is separate from their instinct to eat. We've watched lions kill 7 or 8 wildebeest at a time and just leave them, not eat them. And although that might seem like there's some kind of a bloodlust, I don't think it is a bloodlust, it's just the instinct to kill. And I think they find it enjoyable in the same way that a domestic cat finds chasing a ball of twine quite enjoyable. Vera, you say even though the wildebeest was wriggling, it didn't appear too distressed. Vera, it's one of the great misconceptions in animals, of course, is that because we cannot see their distress, that they don't feel it. And the reason, Vera, and I mean, I know exactly what you mean, the reason they don't look too distressed is that they cannot make any kind of facial expression, and they cannot scream in distress like a human being can. And because of that, that's, when we look at a person in distress, we can tell from the look on their face, from their body language, and from the noise that will come out of them. Same is impossible for a wildebeest. It cannot change its facial expression, but for the very slightest amount. And it also, once it's had the teeth clamped over its trachea, it cannot make any noise at all. And James, you're wondering if she's habituated. I mean, I'm assuming you mean habituated to vehicles. Yes, she is, to a certain extent, but I've got to tell you, she's not as relaxed as some lionesses I've seen, and I'm most pleased that we're able to watch her at this distance, because if you watch her carefully, she is looking up towards us from time to time. And that means that she's not completely 100% comfortable around us. I'm not too worried, because we've clearly not affected her ability to eat. But I think that she is not as used to vehicles as some lions might be. How utterly fantastic that was. And totally unexpected, like I said, completely not the herd I thought she was going to try and hunt. And I think we're going to stay right where we are, just in case something else doesn't come down this very well-worn, very well-used path. And if it doesn't, well, what she'll do is take that wildebeest into a little bit of shelter. Probably eat as quickly as she can, because there are a lot of hyena in this area. There are two clans that converge on this drainage line. One called the Mountain Clan, the other is called the North Clan, and they are around here all the time. Lynn, you want to know if the wildebeest is still alive? Lynn, no, I think the wildebeest is now dead. And for her, that's obviously a good thing, because if something else comes down through there, well, then they're not going to see the kicking. It was the kicking of the feet that gave her away. What an astonishing thing to have beheld. Well, I think that's the action dying down. We can just, I think let's wait another 2 or 3 minutes, just see if something doesn't pop down that hill there, and then what I'm going to do is move around to the side and see if I can't get a better view of the animals the other side of this drainage system. She's looking around, but she's looking around, I think, because the wind is blowing, and so what that does is make it quite difficult for her to hear what's happening and smell what's happening. So she must use her sight. Is there a hyena coming? Are there more prey species coming? Is there perhaps another member of the pride somewhere around here in this drainage system? Now, that's quite an interesting question from Tayla. You're wondering how many hyena it would take to steal this kill from her. Tayla, I don't think more than 5 or 6, sorry, Kayla, not Tayla. Kayla, I think probably 4 hyenas would manage to chase her, or 5 definitely would manage to chase her off. And I've seen a lioness hunting in this area. It could have been exactly this lioness, actually, be chased off by 4 very aggressive hyenas that had their blood up from constant stealing. Now she's going to start eating. So she'll go for the soft bits first. It's easy to get in on the underbelly, and from there she'll work her way through the nutritious organs, which sounds a little bit disgusting, but that's what she'll do. And then it'll be the meat. Isn't this fantastic? So you can see they're the same size, those 2 animals. She's probably weighs in the region of 250 pounds or so, 120 kilograms, maybe even lighter than that. She's quite a light lioness, and that yearling wildebeest could easily, probably even more than that. You know, he will weigh, if it was a bull, it would have gone up to about 270 kilograms or so, about 600 pounds. And I'd say, well, not quite there yet. I'm going to say he's heavier than her. He or she is heavier than her. Sometimes, instead of the underbelly, what happens is that the eyes get eaten first, and the soft part of the muzzle, because they're just a little bit easier. Yeah, there we go. This might get a little bit disgusting. That's the eye going there. That is a young bull or cow? Can you see, Darby? Can you just go down a little bit? Looks like a young bull. Yeah, there goes the eye. Oh well, it's not like the poor old wilde's going to need it anymore. The reason your picture's shaking is because of the wind. And because of the wind, obviously, at this end of the lens, and what that means is we're zoomed right in, it just means that it's quite difficult to hold everything steady in the wind. I still think it's worth just sitting for another 2 or 3 minutes before something comes down through here. Watch out here. She's heard something. Lisa, you say you just got onto the stream and it looks like she's in a forest. It does, doesn't it? You won't believe where we are. We're in the Masai Mara. And in fact, we are in a forest, but we're in one of the very, very few pieces of forest that there are in the Masai Mara. All of the drainage lines or streams places where the water comes off the mountains and goes into the Great Mara River are in fact fringed in this gorgeous, beautiful forest. And while most of this 370,000 acre wilderness is grassland interspersed with the odd tree, yes, she has found a piece of forest that she's made her kill in. I didn't even think to explain that to our newer viewers. Absolutely, you're quite correct. This is not characteristic of the entire Masai Mara at all. And that licking, although it is, I mean, it just looks like she's having almost like she's cleaning the wildebeest, which clearly she isn't. That licking is very much to clean the fur off the skin. So you've felt, obviously, well, most of you would have felt what a house cat feels like, what a house cat's tongue feels like. Well, imagine that multiplied by the mass of a lioness, and you'll get somewhere close to the roughness of that tongue. Beautiful stuff. Alright, I think I'm going to try and move the car and see if we can't see what else is coming. If anything else does transpire here, we will make very sure to come back live and tell you exactly what's going on. So until then, we'll see you later.
Now, what an amazing sighting, James. Your patience definitely paid off with that. I've got another bird to add to the list. Don't run away. Don't run away. There it is. Stay there. That's the Natal spurfowl. Running over there. Luckily it hung around just long enough for us to show it to you. Let's see if we can get another view of it. Beautiful spurfowl. Oh no, I think it's gone all the way down the embankment. These are crested. We've seen them. So, let me just show you quickly. That Natal spurfowl. It used to be Franklin. I don't know why they changed the names. But let me just show you quickly. Here we go. What's wrong with my app now? Natal spurfowl. There we go. That's it, the Natal spurfowl. So that's another one. What is that? 74. It's quite nice. There we go. Another one for the list. I'm still so jealous about that hunt that James got to watch, and by the sounds of things it sounded like that lioness needed to catch something. Apparently she was looking quite thin. That's what James said. Some of you were just asking what number of bird, or how many birds we've seen. So 74. We're on 74, which is really good, I think, for this time of year, and especially getting them on camera. We've seen a few others that we just haven't been able to get on camera yet, so I still think we've got a few to go and get the numbers up a little bit more. R. Beard, you said that spurfowl was number 78 on your list. Well, hopefully we can get your list up a little bit more, especially in summer. It says that the male and female are very much alike, so they look similar. No, there's no real difference that you can see, Sinak, from their appearance. Just trying to look for any silhouettes of a little owl. I had a look, and Megan asked us to look, or Chitty Chatty Meg asked us to look for that giant eagle owl. The giant eagle owl, I had a look in that area, no sign of it. It's probably in one of the other many jackalberries in that around. What is that? Isn't that an owl? It is. Look there, barred owlet. Up at the top. Can you see him there?
No, not yet. Where?
Follow the stem off to the left. Let me try reverse for you a little bit. Please don't fly. Please don't fly.
Oh, okay.
Have you got him there, Seb? Can you get it? Down, 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 down. Left.
Yeah,
There we go. There we go. The barred owlet. What a spot. Hey, that's amazing. Oh, thanks, Seb. That was great. You see, I told you there's a chance of seeing these little owls in these knob thorns. It's a grey go-away bird calling, but that little bird is very well hidden. The little barred owlet, African barred owlet. I was hoping to see this one. 75. Come on. That's fantastic. I'm really happy that we got to see this. So we've seen the pearl-spotted owlet, we've seen the African barred owlet, we've seen the Scops owl, and we've seen the giant eagle owl. Four owl. So let me work on my English for a second. 4 owl species that we've seen for the list, which is great. Now there are still some owls we could potentially see here. The white-faced Scops owl, the barn owl, and the spotted eagle owl. So 3 more species. We don't see the other 3 as often as we see some of these smaller ones. A lot of you saying this owl looks very cute. Oh, and they kind of I always think the barred owlet compared to the pearl spotted owlet, it's just a little bit I don't know, can we say chubby? Looks a little bit rounder compared to the pearl spotted owlet. But those very clear blotches on the front, on that white, those brown blotches. He's looking straight at us. Look at that. Wow. That's so cool. That's the grey go-away bird you can hear. Francis from Israel, thank you. You say that I must be the owl whisperer. Been a bit lucky, but it's, I mean, yeah, it was a tricky spot. It's hiding right up there. George, you asked, does it hoot? Are you speaking about the vehicle, George, or the owl? The owl doesn't hoot. No, we call I know in the States you call what do you call a horn that you have on your vehicle? In South Africa we call it a hooter. So you hoot at traffic, and James, I think, has been known to sit on his hooter from time to time with people who can't drive. But let me play. Sorry, my app is having a bit of a moment here. Let me play that owl call for you. Excuse me. Oh, sure. The African barred owl call for you. There we go. So a bit of a hoot, I suppose, not really, I suppose, not a typical hoot you would think of. But that's it. Lovely to see the. Let me just show you I mean, we had such a clear view of it, so no need, but I'll show you just the spelling of the name, and there you can see it clearly. We basically had that view with the blotching on the front, with it looking down at us. And that's the African barred owlet. There's I think we'll carry on. Let's head back to James. And he's still with that lioness who managed to hunt the wildebeest. I'm so happy that you got to see it live. Let's go and see how it's going.
I've gone mute. There we go. I think we're okay there now. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now, Rebecca? Sorry about that, everybody. I managed to mute my microphone in the excitement. So what we did was we moved up onto the top of this precipice, and we've looked through the trees, and on the other side, on the plain, there is a large herd of wildebeest possibly heading this way. And while she eats, we're going to sit here and wait. What an astonishing afternoon that was. It really was very special indeed. And, well, I guess it goes to show that the more time you spend out here, of course, the luckier you get. Like old Gary Player said, the more he practices, the luckier he gets. I'm not sure that's entirely true. I've practiced a lot at golf and just got worse. Now she's into the business end of the eating, so she's going in through the soft underbelly, and the reason, of course, that she eats the organs first is that they're the most nutritious. And I've thought this quite interesting as I've studied a little bit about human nutrition. I say study, I've read popular articles on human nutrition, and basically the kind of fat-free, lean rump that she'll find, or the fillet, is not entirely the most nutritious part of that body. The most nutritious part for a lioness like this are the organs. There's fat in the organs, there's a whole lot of other nutrients in the organs that simply doesn't occur in the protein-rich meat. Yes, the meat's good for her and she'll eat it, but it's the organs that are going to do her the most good. And that's the same for human beings, believe it or not. So don't turn your nose up the next time somebody says, would you like some haggis or some tripe? Well, tripe's not so great, but yeah, some offal. It's actually very good for you, much more so than the fat-free rump. Now, Boyd, you're wondering how much a lioness can eat in one sitting. Boyd, a lioness can eat apparently between 20 and 25% of her body weight. So if we put her at a nice even 120 kilograms, that's going to be in the region of, work this out, 1/5 of 120 should be 24 kilograms, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? 24 kilograms? I think that's right. A fifth of 100 is 20, plus a fifth of 20 is 24 kilograms. So 24 kilos of meat, which is round about 55 pounds or so in one sitting. So she could conceivably eat most of the meat on that carcass in one sitting. So although that's let's call it 120 kilogram wildebeest, most of it is made up of bone and skull and hoof, and the actual meat part probably about 60 kilograms or so. Wow, now our very special access begins. We're now alone in the Masai Mara. Everybody else has to go home and cook their dinner or order their dinner from the Serena restaurant or from the camp that they're at. And we, of course, are now alone and allowed out in the Mara to watch these astonishing things unfold in the privacy, well, of your own homes, and in my case, this blustery, rickety Land Rover. I'm not going anywhere because I think we're in a perfect position to see what she does if another group decides to come through here. If you have just joined us, welcome. where have you been? Send us questions or comments, hashtag Safari Live, or talk to us on the YouTube chat stream. We've got 3 vehicles out today, although most of the drive's just been 2 of us because Tayla has not had any signal. She is with lions. Those lions are on the move, and with any luck, soon they too will be on the hunt. This is Tayla's first day in the Mara, and if she gets a hunt on her first day, I think it'll be a very good omen for the next little while for her career here. If it doesn't, it won't be a bad omen. It just might be slightly frustrating, that's all. Marvellous stuff. There, she's opened the belly, out the organs. She'll pull out the guts, which will be a little bit disgusting to watch, but it is of course necessary. And then she might eat the intestines. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but she'll empty them first of what's in them. And I keep saying this, but she really is. I have not seen a lioness this thin in the Mara for a long time, and I don't mean she's looking emaciated. I think she's just not eaten. We did see her have a little bit of a vom, not to put too fine a point on it, before she did the hunt. And I think maybe that means that she's got, I don't know, tummy bug perhaps, but lions often do that, so I don't think that's what the problem is. Chastity, you're wondering what lions' hooves, not... Lions don't have hooves, do they? You're wondering what wildebeest hooves are made of, Chastity. They're made of keratin, in the same way that the horns and your nails and rhino horns are made of keratin. They are nutrition-free, and they are the one part of the body, or to go along with the hair, which also contains largely keratin, that even the stomach of a hyena cannot digest. So even a hyena will be unable to digest the horns or the hair and the hooves, because keratin, other than for keratophagous moths, those moths that make their homes in the horns of these animals, other than for them, very little is actually able to digest keratin, including the human being, therefore pointing to the pointlessness of eating rhino horn in order to cure yourself of any malady. She'll keep looking around, wondering if perhaps there isn't going to be some kind of an attack from some hyenas perhaps, or perhaps the rest of her pride will come through. It really is getting rather windery and blustery out here. David, have you got a jacket on? You do, well done. Manu, you've got a jacket on, have you? Manu's also got a jacket on. Andy, you want to know why they're called the sausage tree pride? Well, Andy, I could give you a long yarn of absolute nonsense about why they're called the sausage tree pride, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say it's because they do often lie in the shade of a sausage tree, which is a tree that produces a big fruit that looks, well, a little bit like a sausage, really. An enormous tree full of knukvurst. Just looking behind me at the herd that she was originally looking at. Gosh, we knew she was going to hunt today, didn't we? But we really got lucky here in the day. Because while we have the equipment to film these hunts at night, you cannot beat the ambient light. It's always better than trying to do this in the night time. Right, so we'll just keep watching here. Byron apparently has lost signal, as has Tayla, so we'll just keep watching this lioness feeding. Now, H. Macy, you're wondering if lions will eat the bones. Yes, they certainly will eat the bones. Not all of them, though. So they'll eat the end of the ribs, the cartilaginous bits at the end of the ribs. They'll eat the sternum, probably. They will eat the end of the muzzle quite often. They'll eat the softer bones of the legs. But most of the vertebra and most of the top of the skull and the thicker leg bones will be left alone. And I mean, in a place like Djuma, they'd probably eat more of the bones than they do here, because there's just a huge amount of food at this time of the year in this part of the world. But at a place, you know, if she was at Djuma with a wildebeest, they'd probably eat most of it. And the hyenas will almost certainly come in here and devour a few more bones. But quite often, even here, the hyenas don't eat all the bones. And the reason they don't eat all the bones is that they don't have to. They can get a lot of meat just by wandering about the place. Wildebeest dropping dead of old age, being killed by lions, and all sorts of other things like that. So there's plenty of meat to eat. And all animals, I think, just about will choose to eat meat rather than bones if they can. Still hear some wildebeest sort of grunting off to the... Ooh, what's you got there, Dave? A bit of sinew. You can see the eyes were the first things to go. She's just opening it up there. Oh, that's the hip. Is it? Gosh, she's opened it up very quickly. Alright, we're not going to go anywhere now. We're going to stay here and wait and see what happens. In the meantime, I believe Byron is on the hunt for 76.
I am indeed, James. Who knows? Who knows? Might be able to get some more birds. So we actually, Sebastian and I were just caught in a roadblock of sorts. We couldn't go the way we wanted to because there were rhino in the way. They just stood in the road, so we didn't want to disturb them. We turned around and went the opposite direction. Now I do hope one day that there goes a slender mongoose, just ran across the road. Just very briefly ran across the road. I do hope one day we get to a stage where we are able to show our viewers rhino down here in South Africa too. I think, the thing is, everybody knows there are rhino here. Everybody knows that they occur in the greater Kruger, so they are here. I think if we may be a bit sensitive in terms of not mentioning road names or anything like that, I don't think it'll be an issue. Maybe in the future. So who knows? It would be wonderful, because I think it might also do wonders for conservation. More awareness about the rhino. At the end of the day, all these safari programs are there to create awareness and understanding of the wildlife and the importance of protecting them. And that's definitely a message that I know myself and I know James, and we do this because we want to promote the protection of wildlife and animals. Not just rhino, all the animals we see. Protect the game reserves and the natural areas for these animals. Now, last night, excuse me, I seem to have a frog in my throat this afternoon. Last night, I'm trying to think what time it was, about quarter past 6, we managed to find a female leopard. So maybe we have some luck this afternoon again, or this evening. Who knows? Apparently we have 47 minutes left to try and find a leopard. Campy, you asking about if we've got any really large bat species in Djuma? No, we don't. I think The largest are some fruit bats, which we do get in the area, and I think they're about that big, Campy, about that big, the biggest ones. I think those are the largest I've seen. Most of the bat species are fairly small, about that big. So we don't have too many bat species. Oh no, I lie. We've got a few bat species. I don't know how many we actually have around here, because you never get to see them. They just fly about, unless you find where they're roosting and you take your binoculars and go have a look and try identify them during the day. If you find them in the roofs of some of the houses. I know a place we go to in the Timbavati, at the house there, that we have bats in the roof, under the thatch roof, nesting there, and we had to do something about it. We had to try to chase them out, because the problem is, it's not a bad thing having the bats, but you don't want them in the house, because they attract snakes, like black mambas especially. Black mambas will go and try and hunt bats during the day in the roofs, in the houses, so if they pick up on the scent, they will go there, which is not ideal. You don't want to be there with a black mamba coming into your house. We've actually had a number of black mambas there already. Always got to be careful out in the bush. So some people build little bat houses. They're little wooden structures, and the bats will go and sleep in there during the day. So bat houses, that helps keep them out of the roofs. But all of them are quiet at the moment and hiding and probably hibernating, and we need to have some summer rainfall or spring rainfall. Then all those frogs get very, very active, and we start maybe even seeing, we do see a number of frog species. Thought I saw something there. No. So we do have a number of frogs. Some of my favorites are the foam nest frogs. We get eastern olive toads. We get sand frogs, rain frogs, bullfrogs, number of frog species and toad species that we do see around here. We're approaching Buffelshoek Dam. Let's see what we can find. So now, I'm curious to find out from Tayla what she did this afternoon, because she didn't have signal. So first day in the Mara, and either she got very lost or she just lost signal. Either way, something's lost. It was signal. Shame. Poor Tayla. I may send a voice note to cheer her up, and just ask her why she didn't want to go live. Maybe she's just enjoying the Mara and she unplugged something. Shall we send her a group voice note quickly? What about that? Let's see. Where's Tayla? So apparently it looked like she went to Tanzania today. Oh, I'm losing my mic pack here. Shall we send Tayla a group voice note? What shall we say? Better keep it clean, I suppose. Tayla! We're live at the moment, and we want to know where you are in the Mara and why you don't have signal. Did you unplug something, and are you just taking in the scenery? Let's see what she replies. She might reply later, who knows. Anyway, just something silly and something fun. Hey, red-billed buffalo weavers, we don't have those. There we go. And they're jumping out of their nest, the big nest at the bottom left.
Oh,
Let's see, there we go. Red-billed buffalo weavers, 76. And that's a nice view of them. Thanks, Seb. I just heard them calling, and we slowly but surely getting this bird list up. I'm just scanning around just to see if there isn't something else at the water's edge that we might be able to add to our list. I saw a heron flying over this morning, but we didn't get it on camera, unfortunately. It was a bit too quick for us. You know what we also needed was a black-bellied bustard and a red-crested coron. We don't have those birds yet. I haven't seen them for quite a while. Actually, for a number of days, for about a week, I haven't seen any of those birds. I can hear a roller calling at the moment. It's always nice sitting around these dams, and especially this time of the evening. And a pearl-spotted owl, he's calling behind us in the drainage line. You've seen that, but always nice to hear those. I think, why don't we continue? See if we can't find something else. Oh, it's getting a bit chilly now, actually. Now, I'm starting to think about dinner. And while I think about dinner, Lioness, James is still with the Lioness having her dinner.
And it's a bit chilly here as well. The wind is blowing in. Doesn't feel like rain for the first afternoon in many, many afternoons. There's cloud about, but there's no rumbling thunder, no lightning, but there is a chilly wind blowing off the escarpment, which is not too far from us to the western side of the reserve. No further developments have occurred here. I think we're going to sit here anyway. In fact, I might, once we go off air this time round, I'll pop around to the other side of this drainage system and just see if the zebra aren't, or wildebeest aren't coming down this way, because of course it's now getting dark. And that means that where she's hidden that kill is ideal for her to make yet another one if they come wandering through here. I'm very interested as to why she's on her own. I'm very interested as to exactly which pride she's part of. If she is part of the sausage tree pride, why isn't she with the rest of them? Although that said, like I said earlier this afternoon, we found a very fat lioness and that pale cub on their own, very fat and very full. And I think that the pride dynamics, I guess, just changed during the smorgasbord of the migration. And perhaps they don't need to coordinate their hunts nearly as much as they would normally. Although, of course, that's not entirely why we think lions are in prides. We think they're in prides largely for security from other lions rather than for their ability to hunt in groups. I'm just letting you listen here to the blowing of the wind. There's a drongo calling, that's very nice. But otherwise very little bird song at the moment. And that's not because there are no birds here. It's just because it's chilly and blustery out. And the birdies don't like to sing when it's like this. They feel a little bit cold and they get inside the trees. I feel very exalted at the moment. I'd like to know how all of you feel. Please tell me. #FYI Live. One word. I feel exalted. Mary, you want to know what I miss most about Djuma, and I can tell you that very quickly. The thing I miss most about Djuma is Herbert Causa, and so I'm very much looking forward to seeing him again. And that'll be the best part of going back to Djuma. The second best part of going back to Djuma will be meeting up with Shongile, who has recently become my most favourite leopard character, her brother Hosanna, of course, and all the leopard characters. So I would say Herbert and Shongile are the two things I miss most about Djuma. Amanda's cooking must come a close third. And Byron apparently says I surely miss him the most. Byron, I miss you about as much as I miss my dentist. I also think Byron, I believe he made a relatively amusing joke about an owl hooting and then linked it, of course, to me and my propensity to hoot in the traffic. Unfortunately, he is correct. I have been known to hoot or honk my horn in the traffic from time to time. I do get a little frustrated in amongst too many vehicles of people who don't know how to drive to the standards that I think they should. Must also be said that I have yet to find anybody who's driven with me who has said that they have felt entirely comfortable. Most of the time they spend their time next to me in the passenger seat with their feet pushed against the brake. You know that kind of fake brake that passengers push in the passenger seat of a car when they think that the driver's not doing his job properly? Well, my car's got holes in the bottom of the passenger seat or passenger footwell because of that. So I think it's probably me that's the problem rather than the other drivers. How we got to that while we're watching a lioness eating a wildebeest, I couldn't rightly tell you, but there we go. Alright, why don't we pop around the corner and just see if we can't spot the other wildebeest and zebra. I just have to clean up the picnic we've been having in celebration of watching this lioness. It consisted of some nice strong black coffee. In my case and Manu's case, David had children's coffee with milk and sugar in it, and one or two digestive biscuits which tasted not entirely unlike cardboard. Alrighty, let's move around. Zoomy outy. Alright, while we do this, Tayla has managed to finally find some signal, which is very good news. Let's pop across to her and I'll catch up with the other side of the laga.
We've had signal for a while, but we haven't just had too many animals. So the last time you saw us, of course, we were sitting with that lovely lioness before the action started with James. How exciting. Unfortunately, our lioness got up and moved out of an area that we couldn't off-road. So we decided we're going to come and try and follow up on the two young males that James had this morning. So Jean-Andre, of course, is helping with that. So we're in the area now, and hopefully we're going to find them on the move. Of course, with young males like that, there's so many young males around here. It's unbelievable. They're not holding territories. They're sort of just staying in an area for a little while until a big male comes through and, well, says, right, this is my land, go away. And they just keep moving around. So there is a good chances of us finding them. There's lots of game around, lots of zebra, wildebeest, of course. We've seen lots of Thompson's gazelle. So there's definitely no shortage of food within this plain that we've got now. And it's so quiet here. That's one thing that I cannot believe, how quiet. The odd bird calling every now and then, but it's absolutely silent, which is really amazing. So if anybody does give us a call, then hopefully, and I don't mean on my mobile, hopefully that we'll be able to sort of follow up and have a look. But we're going to be basically heading towards the base of the escarpment, and we're just really going to see what we can find. But look at that scenery. It is incredible out here. And we had the most gorgeous sunset. It disappeared so quickly though. There's a bit of cloud cover this evening, but it really has been an amazing first drive in the Mara. I'm so excited to see what else and what tomorrow has to hold. Maybe not action-packed right now, but it can only get better from here. Right, and I suppose I'm trying to take everything in. But let's go back across to Byron. He's holding his spotlight. He's shining it from left to right. What will he spot? I'm not sure.
Walking about and on time. Sorry, our signal dropped there for a second. I'm just double checking if I. Sorry, I'm just. My eyes are playing tricks on me. I thought I saw an owl, but it's not. I was just saying that I'm glad Tayla wasn't lost, but we do give. I can't believe James said he misses me like we miss our dentists. Samantha asked Black Mambas camp. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. We are always careful, and we do have a look around. Black Mambas do occur in this area, so we are careful. And we do have to watch out for snakes. Fortunately now, this time of year, there's very little snake activity. It's still cold. Winter, they're hibernating, hiding in holes, hiding in termite mounds, in trees. So chances of seeing one pretty slim at the moment, but we're always very careful. Beautiful glow in the air at the moment, or in the sky rather. Ricky, you say it looks like a beautiful sunset. It does indeed, just a beautiful. It's actually like a purple, a bit of a pink coloration there too. Some lovely colors in the sky. It's a pity we didn't have any luck with those wild dogs this afternoon, but I have no idea where they went. Again, unfortunately, we didn't get a decent update where they were left, or were they moving, were they lying down, or where exactly. Because if we perhaps went to the last spot they were seen, we may have seen tracks possibly. But like I said, this morning was quite cool, so perhaps the dogs decided to move again. They do move around a lot in the mornings when it is cooler. Angeline, you asked, do the wild dogs howl? No, they don't. I've never heard wild dogs howl. They don't. The wild dogs have got a strange sound that they make, high-pitched chattering sound. Some of you may have heard it before. They get very excited, and they kind of, it's like a chatter and this high-pitched squeal at times. They do bark. It's more of an alarm call. If they feel threatened or see a predator, then they will bark to warn each other that there's danger around. I've never heard. No, they don't howl. Wouldn't it be amazing to find a little chameleon? Looked like a little bat that flew past. Bobby, you were asking who would win a fight, a wild dog or hyena? Well, the wild dog are pack animals, much like the hyena, I suppose, are clan animals, but most of the time, especially in these areas, you see the hyenas moving around by themselves. Now, we had wild dog and hyena interaction. When was it? Seb, was it? It was the previous trip that I was up. Yeah, it was the previous one. And Craig was on camera with us. But we saw the wild dogs. They made a kill and the hyena ran in to try and scavenge some food, and the wild dog attacked the hyena. If the wild dog outnumbered the hyena, they would chase it away and probably do some serious damage. But if there are a few more hyena, then the wild dog would definitely run away, because the hyena are very powerful and much bigger than the wild dogs. But the wild dogs are quick and agile. You'll never, I wouldn't say never, but it's highly unlikely you would find one wild dog and one hyena. And if so, the hyena would most definitely chase that wild dog off. Erica, you asked what type of animals come out at night. There are a number of nocturnal animals, but the predators get more active, Erica. Lions, leopards, hyena. Then, of course, honey badgers, civets, genets, serval out here too. What else? All the owls, nightjars. What other animals would we potentially see at night? Aardvark, pangolin, perhaps. I think what we'll do is we'll just try to find a civet and a honey badger. How much time have we got left? About 20 odd minutes, yeah. 24 minutes, that's enough time to find a civet and a honey badger. Wishful thinking, but who knows? Sorry, Seb, I don't think it's anything, but Chitty Chatty Meg, you asked, why is it impossible to domesticate a wild dog? Well, for one, you'd have to domesticate the whole pack, because they pack animals, so you won't be able to keep one by itself. I don't think it would be very happy. They're very social animals. The other thing, Meg, is that they need huge areas to roam free in. You can't keep a wild dog in an enclosure. I know areas, game reserves, that are 100,000 hectares that are fenced, and the wild dogs still try and get out of that. So, you need a huge area for them to move around and roam free, where they can hunt and find water. It's basically impossible to domesticate a wild dog. You'd have to go for 10-kilometer runs every morning and every afternoon with your dog. And I don't think any of us would be able to keep up with them either. It'd have to be very fit. Not even James can keep up with an African wild dog. I'm sure I heard James refer to himself as the African wild dog of the guiding team. He says because he's such a supreme athlete and runner. We can maybe ask him about that. Sorry, Seb, those bumps are terrible there. Speaking about the wild dogs, Sinak, you asked if they come out at night. No, the wild dogs are diurnal. They are not nocturnal. So they mainly come out, are active during the day. At times we have seen wild dogs moving around at night, but it's quite unlikely. They prefer moving around during the day. Scanning here for anything in the trees, perhaps an owl or a bush baby. Oh yeah, bush babies, they come out at night. Almost forgot about the bush babies. Don't want to forget the bush babies. At least we're getting quite a bit of time in the evenings now with the spotlight. It's quite nice to be able to drive around because with the spotlight you never know, some of the, as we said, a lot of the other animals get active now and there's a chance that we could see them. So actually been quiet. I saw a lot of elephant tracks earlier today, but we were just unable to find them. Not sure where they disappeared to. Sometimes the elephants stand on their toes and hide behind trees, so we can't see them. I am, of course, joking. Alright, well, it sounds like Tayla has got her infrared on, so let's go across to her and see how she's enjoying the evening in the Mara.
Ask for a link. Linking. Hello everyone, it's us again. Sorry, I was just telling Jean-Andre he took his earpiece out just for a quick second. How beautiful is that? We're still in the same spot. We've actually just changed cameras now, which is quite cool. I'm very excited. And I've got lots and lots of toys, which is really amazing. You know, I thought that my birthday was over yesterday. Apparently, it is not, because Jean-Andre has surprised me with the thermal camera, which I find amazing. I can't wait to start using it. I'm even excited just to see the termite mounds, which of course are giving off lots of heat, but I'm sure Jamie, Brent and James and Scott have already showed you all these wonderful things. But of course they're new toys for me and I am very excited. Now, how cool is this camera? It's dark where we are at the moment. I can maybe see 10 meters in front of me from the car, but how great is that this is the view that you get. So this is going to help us find the lions, which are somewhere down in the distance. And I've been sitting very quietly, listening very carefully, and I can't hear anything just yet. I haven't even heard the whooping of a hyena, and the hyenas here are not scared to whoop, let me tell you. They whoop right through the entire night last night. It was so cool down in the valley. It was really, really quite something. We also had zebra running around camp. I actually woke up at 2 o'clock and I said to myself, who on earth is going for a run at this time? And then I remember everybody telling me about the stories of the zebra that live around camp, and they walk right past my tent. It was actually quite funny. I had to remind myself that I was in a new destination. But it is just simply breathtaking here. And, well, it's been, like I said earlier, it's been a fairly quiet drive. But for me, I'm actually happy with that for now, because it's quite overwhelming taking in the Maasai, well, the Mara Triangle. Just the whole thing is just unbelievable. It is huge. I cannot describe to you how big it is. And the animals are so much bigger. The warthogs and the impala are ginormous. It's sure, if we had an impala ram come down to the Sabi Sands and challenge the biggest impala ram you could find in the Sabi Sand, it would stand no chance whatsoever. I'm seeing lots of new birds here and there flying past, just having quick glimpses of them. Have absolutely no idea what they are. They look similar to some of the birds that we get there, but of course I know they're not necessarily the same species or subspecies. Hello, Chitty Chatty Meg. You wondering if I'm going to be out all night? It depends. Hopefully we're going to find some lines to follow, and then that will determine how long we stay out for. I'm obviously very excited, and I could quite happily drive round and round and round just looking for amazing things, and I'm sure we would bump into something eventually. So we're sort of just going to take it as it comes, and we're going to see what nature provides us, and we'll go from there. But I have a really good feeling. I think Lady Luck might be on our side. I think we could find these 2 young males, and Jean-Andre was saying that they looked fairly hungry this morning, and we know that there is no shortage of food at the moment. So how exciting is that? Wonder what lodge is that? Mars Sun. That's quite cool. It's beautiful. So those little flickering lights you can see, that's actually one of the lodges up on the escarpment. Imagine the view, and that's the same view that we get to see every single morning. It's spectacular. Oh, we're going to look at our camp too. There we go. And there's our camp. But I'm going to send you back across to James now, who has a lion, and she's coming straight for him.
Well, she's certainly walking past us. I'm not sure she's walking straight for us, but there we are. And I don't know why she's left the kill. I mean, she hasn't... It's not far from her. She's just stood up from it now. Maybe she feels like a bit of a drink. Although I don't think that that's why she's left it. I wondered if maybe something else wasn't perhaps coming through here. Maybe another lion. Maybe something else to kill. Now, Debbie, sorry for my silence there. I was just listening to your question, which is quite complicated. You say, have I noticed any difference between a lioness on her own and a lioness in a pride in terms of their behaviour? No, not really. I think they behave pretty much in the same way. I mean, obviously, they don't greet each other because there's no one for this lioness to greet, but the strategy for hunting in amongst the herds is exactly the same. And interestingly, the one incident or the one sighting that I did have where we had a multiple killing, and they're not uncommon during the migration season. We watched 5 wildebeest being killed in less than half an hour. They behaved just like this lioness did. They didn't hunt as a team at all. They just all got in amongst the herd and killed whatever they could as fast as they could and as quickly as they could. And they did precisely what she did there, which was to get in behind a bush, watch a whole stream of them coming past and then nab one as it went past. So yeah, the behaviour is not very different. I'd be interested to know what this lioness is about, and I'm hoping that someone will come down here tomorrow morning and see what's going on here, either Tayla or Scott, and just see what she's doing, and if she hasn't joined up with the rest of her pride. I'm just not sure. I think she's Sausage Tree, but I can't be 100% sure. Why she's left the kill now to come and lick her feet, I'm not sure. I think I would rather have supper than lick my feet. Wouldn't you, Manu? Manu, would you rather lick your feet or have supper? Yeah, Manu says he'd like to have supper while licking his feet. Manu's obviously mad. There's the wildebeest. And I've got on, which I'm afraid I can't show you, but I'm looking at a thermal image of the drainage line, and I can see the lioness is a little sort of colourful dot, and I can just see the fading warmth of the wildebeest under the tree there. It's quite interesting to see, actually. And just as I was saying to you that I didn't think there was too much weather coming in, there is some lightning now. Now, Erica, yes, absolutely. This is the thing that we've been watching during the migrations, the thing that has disturbed, I think, some of us, and certainly fascinated most of us, about the lions during the migration. You say, will she kill again even though she's just killed and she's eating? Absolutely she will. And we've watched lions, I think they leave roughly 50% of what they kill, up to 60% of what they kill for the vultures and the hyenas. They separate, or the instinct to kill and to eat, I think, are two separate things. And if the chance arises to kill, they'll do it. It's not like they think to themselves, now I've already got a meal, I won't bother with this one. The opportunity for an easy kill arises, they will absolutely take it. I am very interested by her size. She's quite slight compared with many of the others. And she's also, not only is she quite slight, she's, like I say, she's quite skinny. And I wonder where she's been. Maybe she's just come into the area, that's possible. But I don't know what's going on there. Christine, I've now completely forgotten your question. Can we have it again? Sorry, Rebecca. I do apologise. Rebecca? I need Rebecca, I'm sorry, I forgot it. From Christine. You see how slight she is in comparison with the other stocky lionesses. No, she's just walking past the front of us. Ah, right, Christina, you want to know if I'm surprised that no other predators have arrived. Christine, I'm not very surprised because there's no real smell coming off the kill yet, I don't think. And so I'm not that surprised that nothing has pitched up just yet. I think the hyenas will start to get moving and could easily pick up on the smell of the guts, but the wind is swirling so much that I don't think it's going to be very easy for them. Okay, we're going to need to move. Oh, hang on, no, I've got her on the View Pro. She's just over here, Manu, just to the right-hand side. I'll just lift this thing up. Unfortunately, it's decided to switch itself off. Go right a bit, Manu, from there. I think she's gone right. I think she's hunting. Hang on, let's move. Alright, let's go across to Byron while we try and establish the sighting again. She's actually... Yeah, let's go across to Byron. He's got something nocturnal. I think she might be hunting again. We'll keep you posted. There she is.
I do indeed, James. It's an owl. However, it's right above us and we can't see it. It's right above us. We managed to get a glimpse of it. It's a little scops owl and you can hear it calling. Listen to this. Wonderful sound. And it's right above us, but we just can't tilt the camera. We can't tilt the camera that far up. And there's actually a lot of foliage around it, so you can't see it at any other angle. But it is a little scops owl calling right above us. Lovely sound, so nice hearing them. But my neck is very sore from trying to look up and find it. Sebastian and I were scanning the trees very, very carefully. We were determined to find it. And Sebastian spotted this one. Omkar, you asked, is the barred owlet different from the barn owl? Completely different, completely different. The barred owlet is about the size of my hand, very, very small. And the barn owl is probably about that, let's not go off the road. Sorry, about that big. See this multitasking with the spotlight. Oh dear. I'm losing the plot a little bit. I do apologize, everyone. Sure, it's been a quiet evening for us. Or actually a quiet day on the mammal front. But that's okay, that's okay. Like I said, it's good to have days like this from time to time. And we were so spoilt for 3 days with all the predators, and we saw elephant, and we saw a lot. So it's good to have. Oh, there's a little scrub here. Something for us. Off it goes. A little scrub here. I'm not going to shine the light on it for too long. Always nice to see these nocturnal animals. So that's another one that I didn't mention earlier. The scrub hares. see, maybe we bump into... Oh, what about a white-tailed mongoose? Maybe we get a white-tailed mongoose on the clearings near camp. We did spot one the other night. I can hear another scops owl calling off to my right. And it's so difficult. I was saying to Sebastian, it's almost like a scops owl is a bit of a ventriloquist. It sounds like it's throwing its voice, so it's difficult to pinpoint exactly where it's calling from. And yes, James, I do know what a ventriloquist means. We always used to, the running joke when we were training, and they would tease me being from the south of Johannesburg, and they would say they're not allowed to use big words around me because I wouldn't understand them. See, they were all very nasty to me. I hope some of you sympathize with me. Alright, so we're on 76 bird species that we've got on camera in the last few days. We're going to try and get some more again tomorrow. From Sebastian and myself, we'll say goodnight, but let's go back to James with that lioness in the Mara and let him finish off the show.
I feel a little bit like Byron is sort of taunting me, a little bit like McGregor did Mayweather for a while. I don't want to box with Byron because I would almost certainly lose. But Byron, as I've said to you all before, likes to play the idiot. But he actually has a superb general knowledge. And while he certainly doesn't ever use any big words, that is in order to make you think that he's a gormless fool, which of course he is not at all. He doesn't want to sound like he doesn't come from the gangster haven of Johannesburg. He wants to sound gangster, you see. So that's why he only uses words of 3 syllables and grunts quite a lot. Now, James, you're wondering if the forest is a bit thick for the vultures to spot a carcass in the morning. The answer is no, I don't think so. But I don't think... Well, there might be. But there is a bit of a gap. But I'm not sure. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to attempt not... Oh my gosh. Just close. I thought I had got her stuck. She's on the hunt. Well, she's moving. Whether she's hunting or not, I'm not sure. At this stage, I think she might be, so we're going to follow her. Now, I know that we nearly finished this drive, so if you want to continue watching us, you're going to have to go across to the Facebook Live Safari, or the Safari Live Facebook page, because if she does go on the hunt, we will certainly follow her there. In front of her, there are some elephants. I am now driving completely blind. Manu, we're going to follow her on the road. I know this is a little bit wobbly, everybody, because this camera is not ideal for driving. All right, in fact, we're not going to close the show. We're going to close the show with she who's excited about the Mara with some scavengers.
And, well, this hyena seems to be quite excited as well, rolling around for joy. Isn't that cool? One of the second predator we've put on screen now, and we noticed it darting through the grass. It was bouncing like a spring hare would bounce about, but of course it was not a spring hare, it was a hyena. And they are such magical creatures, don't you think? Shall we follow it? What do you think, Gendre? It's hard. It's now running down the road. Maybe it will hang about. Ellie, you're wondering what is my favorite sighting in the Mara so far? Well, I think it has to actually be the fact that I saw maybe 30,000 wildebeest and a whole bunch of zebras. I honestly was gobsmacked. I could not believe it. And you just saw little tiny black dots that looked like ants for miles and miles. It was amazing. So that probably was my favorite sighting so far. But I've had so many. We saw a hippo out of the water very briefly this morning, huge hippo waddling around. Of course, this hyena is fantastic too. And we had an amazing lion sighting with Scott on the sea. That was really great, but unfortunately we just didn't have any signal. But that was really quite cool as well. But off that hyena goes into the distance. I'm sure it is going to look for something to scavenge on, perhaps harass some lions. Who knows what it will actually get up to. And that's the mysteries of the bush. We're going to hear lots of calls, but sadly we can't really understand what the animals are saying. So tomorrow will be another day, and hopefully... Oh, right. Well, we're going to actually send you across now to James, and I think he'll close the show.
Right, we're live, everybody. 60 seconds to go. Beautiful elephants there, and we've got the lioness moving just behind them. And I'm just going to quickly shine the spotlight to see that I'm not surrounded by another 50 or 60 elephants. I'm not. Oh, yes, I am. There are elephants absolutely all over the place. We're going to stay right here until the end of the drive. In 30 seconds, then I'm going to have to put some lights on. Beautiful stuff. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been a very special drive. We're going to continue following this lioness. You can follow us on Facebook, whichever platform works best for you. Thank you for your questions and comments. We will be back, of course, in the Mara in the morning and at Djuma with Scott and Tayla and Byron. What a shot to end our drive. We'll see you tomorrow, and, well, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.